Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Team Tuesday this week with Annu Paganos. Hey Annu, welcome back.
Hello, thank you. Great to be back here.
So, Team Tuesday, of course, is the topic of today. But before we dive into the team story, do share with us, what's the book that most influenced you in your career as a Scrum Master?
Yeah, I guess many people can choose some of the Scrum books here at this point, but maybe my focus as a person is always something like personal development, because those things are really going to the very deep side of you, and that helps always to make decisions that are long-term kind of way of thinking. Well, I mentioned actually in the yesterday's session that I read this one Finnish book, Helena Ooman, Keskustelu älykkyys painetilanteissa, is the book name in Finnish, and that has been one of the, I think, interesting ones from the conflict point of view. I think I have very passionate team, which I have been Scrum Mastering in, and we have had a lot of like passionate discussions and maybe conflicts also past, and we have gone over those, I would say, during time. But I think I have been in the middle of this situation, so I have been interested in these kind of topics. But also one very absolutely nothing to do with Scrum or Agile or anything book, which is really interesting from the Scrum Master point of view, because we are supposed to be creating this like team, and it's kind of community building also part of your work. This Radha Agrawal book, Belong. So that's about find your people, create community, and live more connected life. I think that it's really beautiful book, and it's actually very nicely bringing topics which help you to understand what kind of aspects are like bringing people the feeling of like belonging somewhere. So I think that's something that you can pretty well take into Scrum Mastering also. Like, I think what is very much emphasized there is some kind of routines, for example. What kind of routines your community have that you repeat? I guess there are a lot of these routines in like religious communities. There are certain rituals and routines what they are repeating, but the same goes with the Agile team also. We have, based on the Scrum books and everything, you have certain kind of rituals, certain kind of meetings, but it's also important to think this consciously, that you are as a team creating your own kind of rituals and ways, something that repeats often and in certain situations. For example, in one team, one of my colleagues that have got babies, in one team there has been 4 babies coming lately. So they are buying always together something small for the person who have got this baby. And so that's also like showing the some kind of warmness and caring for each other. And it's a ritual that has been repeating for years, that every time that this has happened, this is what has been done. And I think this is also from workplaces point of view, that if someone is leaving the company, you have this ritual. What happens always when someone is leaving? It's not just fade away, we forget you, but it's more like, okay, this person is leaving, maybe we will all participate in some present, give something small for that person, and appreciate that he or she has been working with us. So it's also ritual, and it's those are things that are not to be taken somehow. I don't know the word now.
Lightly or ignored.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we are communities, and of course, teams are kind of the core community, if you will, in a software development environment. And sometimes they create their own problems, of course. And as Scrum Masters, we need to be aware of that. So, Annu, tell us a story of a team and walk us through how those small little things grew over time and eventually became a problem for that team.
Yeah, I think this is way back, a really long time ago. So I probably don't remember the details anymore. But when I started my work career, like as a software developer, really, in that team, we were developing this invoicing team or invoicing system, and there was a plan that there will be a new system coming soon. So we were just keeping it alive and maybe developing. Yes, we were developing a lot also on top of what was existing, and of course keeping it up and running smoothly. But then there was this like thinking that no, we are not creating any kind of more documentation around this system because it's going to die in any case soon. And well, I went away for maternity leave for a year, and then I came back. I was told that, yeah, when you come back, this system doesn't exist anymore. So no worries, don't save your notes, throw them away, kind of thinking. And then I came back, oh, no sign that the new system would be anytime soon ready. So I was supposed to be still continue with the old system. And I don't think it's still now after 10 or more years, it's still not replaced with a new system. But like this, that the team accepted the fact that, okay, there will be a new system coming, so we shouldn't do any kind of documentation, or we shouldn't be thinking long term when we are developing. And I think we started to change that at some point when we realized that there is no new system coming soon. Overall, I would say this kind of thinking that you should at some point stop developing your team's work somehow because something new will come soon. So I think that was hindering the team to go forward, to be better. It took a long time before again coming back to the track that okay, we have to take the ownership of of this system and keep it up and running. So how do we do it efficiently? And I think after that we started to more and more develop the ways of working also. And
so do I understand it correctly that not only did the team stop documenting what they were doing because there would be a new system, but if I understood you correctly, they also stopped wanting to improve how they worked in that old system. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I guess the attitude was going towards that, because why to really make any big changes? Or then it comes to the fact that, of course, in technology you have to renew stuff. Then don't even try to renew these things because it's no use, because we are going to get this new system. So I think that's a very dangerous path in at least software development, that you at some point start to think that this system will die soon, so we shouldn't be taking any actions to improve our way.
This story reminds me of something we don't very often talk about here on the podcast, which is this concept or this idea of what are the stories we tell ourselves about our future. This can even be a great retrospective topic. But in this team that you were just describing, the story that they were telling themselves, as I understood it, is that, well, the work we're doing is just going to get deprecated anyway. So let's not put a lot of effort into it. Let's not spend any time documenting because nobody else will need this in the end. And that was the result of the story that they were actively telling themselves, right?
Yeah. Yes. So, and of course, that story is coming from the organization, and of course, it's not like built in our own heads, but like letting yourself to get into that mood that there will be no future. That's always dangerous. So I would say that what I learned at that point was that I will never ever think like that again. So you never know actually about the future. So it's always best to develop your way of working at that moment where you are at that time. So you never know the future, what it will bring. And also there was this another system where when I was working as a PO, I was asked that, do you feel that it was waste of time when we did all these changes while the system ended up being closed? And I was like, no, it wasn't waste of time. I think it was, first of all, it was a great experience for me as a PO, and it was very successful, I would say, from Agile point of view. We were able to cut certain functionalities away from the first launch so that we could get the MVP in. So the ideology of that we went live with the MVP, and then it turned out that maybe it won't be even developed further after that. But it was the MVP was basically containing stuff that was legally requested from us. So we had to do certain things so that we are doing things legally, correctly, so that we have the permission to work. We have the permission to run this system. So we did absolutely minimum at first. And yes, in the end, the system was closed at some point, but that also took still 1 or 2 years before that happened. So it brought the value during that time. And I would say that it was still a great experience for the whole team also to see how we did and how we managed to take this step by step.
Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing we have. We only have the present, right?
Yeah.
The future can be quite different from what we expect. In the 2 stories that you just mentioned, there were 2 different futures from what was expected, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to be aware and mindful of the stories we are telling ourselves about the future, because we might end up in the wrong place because we think we know the future when in fact we don't. We don't really know. It's a great start.
I at least feel proud of what we did back then, even if it was closed. So that's at least what I enjoy myself afterwards.
Absolutely, and we only need to live with ourselves forever, right? Like we are going to be with ourselves forever. Thank you for sharing those stories, Annu.
Thank you.
Tuesday is Team Day here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. But tomorrow we talk about something that goes beyond the work we do with the teams. We will talk about how to lead change and what our guests have learned from leading and participating in change programs during their career. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.